Where do you find inspiration for your projects?
Work in an experimental way to try something out. Really high motivated team.
The next topic will be the future of architecture.
Conversion projects will be a big thing, to be structured and flexible. And we also have the climate team. I don't remember every second. The inhabitants increase of 2 people.
Welcome to our new interview. Today we're in MVRDV. Thank you for your participation and for having us. And I would like to start with the first question.
Yes, sure. Thank you very much for the interview.
Could you tell us about the origins of MVRDV, how the studio came to be and what the initial vision was?
Probably you all know MVRDV was founded like almost 30 years ago. The 3 founders, Winnie Maas, Jakob van Rijs and Nathalie de Vries. And we had a Jubilee festival last year. Yeah, and now they're leading the office with 5 partners and some CEOs. And then the studio grew bigger and bigger. And then the studio was departed in several small studios. Like for each market, there was one studio for the German market, the Dutch studio, for the Asian market, one studio for the French market, and the American, and also the urban studio. So for each market, there were different satellite offices and studios organized. And so we are based in Berlin, New York. I started with MVRDV only 1 year ago, in October last year. And I'm the office manager here. And I organized before that a Swiss office for the last 8 years. It was about the same size, also 30 employees here in Berlin, and also international office. And I'm really happy to be here. It's a really, really high motivated team, very young team, and a very enthusiastic team. So we are about 300 architects global-wise, and here in Berlin like 30 now. So when I started 1 year ago, it was like 8 persons less, I think. So yeah, we're getting bigger and bigger.
Incredible. Pretty cool, actually, to hear. Additionally, how to maintain the studio's innovative spirit and cohesive vision as the team grows and the scope of project expands.
Also, situations change a lot, so we have to adapt it, and we have to still work with universities together. We maintain the innovative spirit, for example, also with the TU and in Delft, the university, because the founders are professors there, and I also teach at the TU, like I told you before, for 5 years. I think it's really necessary to keep touch in new technologies, in teaching, in work in an experimental way to try something out, to have new visions, also with students, with new ideas. So, for example, there is many research-oriented designs also in Delft, and that's what I think keeps the innovative spirit and also always the young and new innovative team. In addition, the experienced architects, because you can learn from each other. Great team, collaborative team together. And we also have the climate team in Rotterdam. We do research on sustainability and also implement workflows and new technologies, also to make processes faster and more efficient, and also to analyze climate changes and the sun and winds and what's the perfect way to design or for the design for a building.
Very interesting. I'm really glad to be in the TU now.
I was surprised by a special team for climate change.
So obviously MVRDV is known for its bold and innovative designs. We all saw the most famous projects, probably on Instagram, or if you're an architecture scene, you probably learned about them somewhere. So we have a couple of them here, but I just wanted to ask you, what actually drives your design philosophy and where do you find inspiration for your projects?
Yeah, it's true. We have really the reputation of designing innovative and exciting places always, or most of the time, mixed-use spaces, mixed-use projects like housing and retail and other functions within a building, because it's also necessary that different functions, they work together properly, and a house is lively within 24 hours a day, or also during the night. So from different users, if a place is not used during the day, it can be used at night or the other way around, or there is another function in the building during nighttime or during daytime. So it's also very important to have these different mixed uses within a building. So you probably all know the Dam housing in Amsterdam, for example, or the Markthalle in Rotterdam. This is the famous pavilion in Hanover. We did from the year 2000. Now it's being renovated, and there will be also new functions in the building. So we're doing different kind of typologies and buildings. It's very important to have this research-oriented approach, and we have a closer look and create buildings that really fit to the specific location and to the task there.
And now I would like to speak about my favorite topic, about technology. I would like to ask how modern technologies and, for example, BIM or like parametric design influence your design in your office, and what kind of processes is used to make these tools usual tools.
I think new technologies are getting more and more necessary as well, because also building processes become very complicated and also very complex. So I think BIM is and will be the future planning method, models and visualizations and renderings to help to understand the building much better. And also it can give an overview of the building costs, the planning errors, or it can simulate rooms, and also for the facility management in the later use. It's really a great way to work with. And we implement digital workflows and new technologies to make projects more efficient and also more adaptable. We have a better overview because the teams, they get bigger and bigger as the projects get more complex. The demands of the clients and the costs and also the time schedules are getting more dense. And sometimes you plan shell and core buildings like the facades and the elevators and the staircases, and you don't know yet for which client or tender you plan in the later phases. So then maybe there is a phantom planning, we call it like this. So you plan for someone you don't know who will actually use. It also has to be adaptable. Maybe sometimes they come in the building process much later, and then you have to reorganized while they're already building the shell and core. So the construction site is also very difficult sometimes. BIM helps to have an overview. And also you can check with all the life cycle of a building. So it gives the project a big transparency.
The projects are often very big, look very complicated. So I would like to ask, what are some of the most challenging projects that MVRDV has undertaken, and how did the team overcome those challenges they faced?
I think every project is challenging, and each project has its own challenges, also the client challenges, maybe it's the budget. You learn with each project. I think you learn as an architect to handle different situations, different materials, new materials, or if you renovate a building, you don't know what you find there actually. As I said, there are many more specialists on a project in the building planning, so the planning process gets more complex. So the BIM method is really important, for example, because the coordination with all the specialists is more complicated and has to be organized. So that's a big challenge for projects. And also, for example, if you do a B plan in Germany, it takes nowadays 5 to 10 years. Mm-hmm. So you really have to wait. That's a long time. And also new constructions, they require new knowledge maybe we don't have yet. And also the authorities are sometimes not having the knowledge or the time to check, for example, wood hybrid buildings yet. Mm-hmm. In the future, there will be more conversion projects, I think. We are getting more and more people. I don't remember every second. The inhabitants increase of 2 people, and we all need space to live. And so we have to think about our size of flat. We should minimize our footprint, not to make more land. Also, maybe to use different materials. Not only wood, because we don't have enough wood.
Among, I was going to say numerous iconic projects, but almost all of them are iconic. So which one do you think best represents MVRDV's ethos and why?
Well, still it's all exciting for me. I've only been here for a year now. I don't really have one favorite project. As you said, they're all iconic, and I think I wouldn't be able to choose my favorite project. It's really for this special client, for this special place, for these special people.
And the next topic will be the future of architecture. What future trends do you believe will shape the architecture industry, and how is MVRDV preparing for these changes?
Conversion projects will be a big thing. It also will be increasing, but as I said, we really have to think about how we use materials, what kind of materials, maybe also bamboo or straw or clay. But I think the strength lies also in the construction. So, for example, you also should minimize maybe masses. Maybe you use less wood, and maybe you can replace constructions or recycle them afterwards. We also should think when we plan something, it should be long-lasting, and we shouldn't tear it down after only 50 years or whatever.
As an architecture student, I'm curious about your views on architecture education. Mm-hmm. What skills or mindset do you think are crucial for the next generation of architects?
Due to the complexity of the planning process I talked about before, I think specialism is necessary, but also to work in a team. In these days, you can't know everything. Everybody has his special field, constructions, maybe the other one on the construction sites or the climate topics. And I think they're all different fields and we have to work in a team. And as a student, I think you have to really research on new materials also at university to design as much as possible, to find your way of strategies, of way of working. And I don't know if you heard about that. They are talking about this building type E, because the regulations they became more and more strict, and now and the costs also rise, and to make it affordable again. And let's see how it goes on. You know, in the end, the architect is often responsible for everything, for the dean and all the norms. So you have to always be careful, and it's an insurance thing.
Thank you for those great tips, very specific, and that's how we like it. So how does MVRDV actually support young architects and designers in the studio, and what advice would you give to students that seek to work in such an innovative environment?
Try to experiment as much as possible during your studies. Study new things, study new construction methods. Also learn to be structured and flexible. I think that's really important also during your studies, and it will help you later in the everyday office to be flexible and to adapt to the different regulations you meet or authorities. And depending on whether you work in a competition team or in a construction team, execution planning team, it can be totally different, your job as an architect. In the end, in reality, the focus lies more on organization, coordination and costs, deadlines, and but also contracts and insurance and team matters, I would say. So how you work together in a team, what's your strength?
It's very glad to hear that someone in such a big architecture firm take attention to students' work and the ideas of the students.
At the beginning, start is always hard when you come into the office because most of the topics you haven't studied at school, at university. So reality is really different, and it also takes big effort from you, personal effort maybe, to really get into the things and the norms and deans. And you always have to study yourself or get more skills also.
Thanks a lot for your input.
So, okay, working hard in a cool environment pays off, guys. This was Marchitecture at MVRDV with Verena Lindenmayer. Thank you so much for your time. It was an incredible interview, and I hope you like it. We'll see you in the next interview.
Thank you.
Das war so cool.
Ja, danke.